Hi there everyone, welcome back to Chill and Trade TV. In this week's video, we'll be keeping up with Cadchf, Eurusd, and Gbpjpy. If you're new to this channel, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on that notification bell. And if you're back here again, welcome back. And if you want to trade with a recommended FSC broker, just click on the link in the description down below, as I made it easy for you guys to get a broker and open a broker and start trading. All right, so as I said, we'll be keeping up with these pairs and we're going to do an update, ladies and gentlemen. So let's focus on what's currently happening here to see if we have a structure that's going to tell us are we continuing or are we reversal, and then we are going to go down to a lower time frame and focus on the inner circle. So let's get rid of these circles and then we can get started, ladies and gentlemen. So that is basically our focus, just these two circles. We want to know what the market did previously and what is currently happening, so that we can see if we can get any trading opportunities we can capitalize for in the next coming trading week. Let me just zoom and identify if we have a structure or a pattern from the outer circle, and then we'll focus on the structure that is happening, which was the inner smaller circle. Okay, so this pattern tells me that the market is still continuing because we still have this push to the downside. Remember, the overall direction for Cadchf is to the downside. Let me go to the weekly so that you can see what I am talking about. So that you can see what I am talking about. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, price has been pushing down, and any short uh, buy movement would just be how should I say this? Any bullish moves, yes, will just only be short-term trades, ladies and gentlemen. But otherwise, the long-term direction is to the downside. Let me go back to the daily time frame and then we can go to the H4 time frame to see what we have on the immediate market structure, which was that inner circle I identified. So now that we have identified, or now that we know the direction is to the downside, so we need to know, is this going to be a reversal or give us a continuation pattern? For that, we go down to the H4 so that we can see price much clear. So that we can see price much clear. Okay. hmm So with this, ladies and gentlemen, I kind of like see two possible setups, but they're both in the same direction. They're both in the same direction. Otherwise, if the market invalidates those setups, then we are just gonna look for continuation setups to the downside, and we'll cover that. We will cover that. So the first setup I see, if I join those highs, I do see a reversal structure. I do see a reversal pattern or structure. So guys, when I say pattern or structure, it's basically the same thing. It's basically the same thing. Sometimes I will feel like saying pattern, sometimes I feel like saying structure. It's the same thing. So price could be pushing to these lows. And if you see these lows, it's first touch, second touch, and price is going to give us that third touch. And since this is a reversal structure, for those of you who know this structure, you buy this structure at the third low. You buy until the start of the pattern, which is going to be the previous high, this one, the previous higher high or high, until there. And from here, you could look for a drop to the downside. Since this pattern would have completed, ladies and gentlemen, this is how this pattern usually plays out and completes. I don't see price breaking up and then continuing all the way to the upside. No, because remember, the overall direction is to the downside, and this is pushing aggressively. This is an aggressive push to the downside, ladies and gentlemen. So another thing I see is that, let me get rid of these markings so that we have a nice clear price action. Let me do that. Let me do this. Let me do that. All right. So another setup I possibly see is that the same setup but just different approach to it. Remember, I always say this: we might have different analysis, but as long as the direction is the same, we are good to go. Your strategy doesn't have to be the same as mine, or the way you see the market doesn't have to be the same as mine, as long as we get the direction correct. That's what is important, because that's how we um, capitalize or make profits. So another thing is that price might give us a pattern, nice pattern here, such as this, such as this, and enter at the breakout until the high, until this high. And once price gets to this high, you can now take the sells. You can now just take sells, 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 sells. So yeah, this is, you will choose which setup or looks much cleaner to you, or which one you understand better. But as you can see, it's just the same what is this, the same approach but different setup, or or different setup and same approach. Whichever one you decide to use, ladies and gentlemen, whichever one makes sense to you. But for me, I think I'd rather use this one because it's just clean. It's just clean. It's just clean because I can see that price is actually in a range, in a nice range. So I'll stick to this setup. And as well, ladies and gentlemen, I did mention that price might invalidate that first setup, and this one I think caters for, should price continue from where it is currently. Okay, let me just get rid of these so that it can be clear. Let me get rid of these so that it can be clear. But so far so good. I hope you guys are learning as well and taking notes and just comparing. Remember, don't change your analysis because you see my analysis is like this, ladies and gentlemen. Don't do that. Otherwise, you'll never gain the confidence in your trading strategy or style. So as I said, from this high, from this current high right here, price might just continue to the downside and a break. And once it breaks, you can either wait for a retest back to the zone, stop loss there, sell stop there, and enter there. Or if you're not a break and retest trader, you can wait for a break and then price to give you a continuation pattern such as this, and you enter at the break. You enter at the break, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just do that. You enter at the break, and obviously the more price does these things, you just enter. You enter, you can scale in, enter, 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 because the long-term direction is bearish, ladies and gentlemen, is to the downside. Sell means bearish, to the downside means sells, bearish. Yes. So I hope I've dissected or went into much detail as possible with Cadchf, and you understood and saw how you can capitalize on this market. So ladies and gentlemen, let's go to Euro USD. Euro USD. Euro USD. All right. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, just go back to the previous videos I did so that you understand what is happening with these pairs. These pairs. So I'm just going to individually, let me do this. Let me rather do this. Let me show you guys something. You can have this, you can have this, and then you're gonna have to wait and see what price does here. Either it's going to reverse there and go to the upside, or it's going to break out. It's going to break out and go to the downside. Maybe you would target these lows. Maybe you target these lows. Maybe you target these lows. But for me, I feel like I need to just go into more depth, more detail. You can see this setup, either have this buy or have this sell until this lows. But for me, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to separate this market so that it's much clear. It's much clear. It is clear like this, but I think I can go a little bit more deeper, ladies and gentlemen. I think I can go a little bit more deeper with this. So I just want to share that approach with you. Okay, let's leave this. Okay, no, let's remove this. Let's remove this. So this is possibly the first setup I showed you, ladies and gentlemen, showed you guys. But for me, I see this there, because this is one of the patterns I trade, and it plays out nicely. Plays out nicely. I would go to the daily time frame with this one, but the market already makes sense for me. The market already makes sense. So I'll do this because I see two patterns in one. Two patterns in one. So when I do see two patterns or more than one pattern, I usually like to just do what is called pattern separation and identification. Pattern separation and identification, ladies and gentlemen. So I can focus on the immediate or current price action. Okay. So you see, my focus right now is just here. Is just here. And if you know this pattern, you know what it is. It's a descending pattern. Descending pattern. It's a descending pattern. So with this, what is this now? Okay, what is this doing? Okay, as I was saying, with this descending pattern, ladies and gentlemen, we have first touch, second touch, and could have a possible third touch. So when price gets here, possibly you can buy all and hold all the way. Remember a descending pattern, you buy at the third touch and you target the start of the pattern as your take profits all the way there, all the way there. And since the overall long-term direction for Euro USD is still bullish, you can wait for a break, retest, then buy, or a break, pattern, break pattern, and a buy, and a buy, and a buy, ladies and gentlemen. So I think Euro USD is pretty straightforward. And also, let me see, let me draw the zone. No, let me just do that. Price might just go all the way until this low. And then from there, since this will be a double bottom as well, double bottom, and also if price does extend there a bit, then this is also a descending pattern as well. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you can now treat this instead of the third touch, you can treat this flag, as a flag, yes. So you can also take your entries at this low because there is confluence. There is confluence, ladies and gentlemen. And confluence simply means if you have more than one confirmation, if you have more than one confirmation, that price is gonna go in your direction. That is what we call confluence. Or when two or more setups play out at the same time on the same pair, on the same pair. That's what we call confluence. You can just Google that and to get more clarity, but I think I have explained it in simple terms. So that's it for Euro USD. That is what I will be looking at. I gave you two setups, ladies and gentlemen, so you decide which one is in line with your analysis. Let's go to GJ. Let's go to Gbpjpy. So with GJ as well, ladies and gentlemen, all the pairs that I'm covering here, or keeping up with here, you can just go back to the previous videos for the top-down analysis so that you just pick up from what we are doing here. So with GJ as well, ladies and gentlemen, just going to focus on what is currently happening here. And as you can see, it is still continuing to the upside, push up, and market is giving us a nice, beautiful structure here. And this looks like a continuation pattern which I trade. So I'll be looking forward to this pattern completing and only enter once it has completed because that's my confirmation for me to trade, to place the trade. So let me just get rid of this, identify those two highs there. identify those two highs and join these two lows right there. So with this one, ladies and gentlemen, okay, let me just, because I see a structure here, I don't want to leave this structure not identified, not identified. And just another tip, the more you train your eyes to see these things in the market, it's going to be easy for you to identify them. You don't even have to think of them anymore. It's just going to be instant, ladies and gentlemen. See, broke out, continue to the upside. Now let's zoom in. Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in and focus currently here. Let me do this so that our highs and lows touching nicely within structure. So as you can see, price is heading to this low. And hopefully first touch, second touch, and then the third touch. So this third touch is a bit more of risky. It's a bit of a more risk trade. If you're confident with the trading to that point, you can take the risk just buying on the third touch. Just buying on the third touch, depending on the pattern, ladies and gentlemen. Depending on this pattern, you can buy here and just basically just hold the buys. 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 Let me go to the daily and see. And since I'm a swing trader, ladies and gentlemen, I could possibly hold until this high, until the daily higher high, till the daily higher high. Let me zoom out and show you. I hope it shows, otherwise I'll have to go to, okay, otherwise I'll have to go to the weekly, but I don't have to, because there it is. There, you could hold all the way until this high. If you are very patient, you could hold until that high. And the more opportunities you see while it is still going up, you can still enter, you can still scale in, you can still scale in. No one is stopping you as long as you apply proper risk management. As long as you apply proper risk management, you can do that all the way until this high. So I think I went into detail with these pairs. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click on that notification bell, and if you want to trade with a FSC recommended broker, regulated broker, rather, click on the link in the description down below. This is Chill and Trade TV. I hope you guys have a profitable trading week next week, and just wait for these setups to play out. Until the next video, peace.